Welcome to the third episode of The Catalyst Way, where we have conversations around unleashing the power of purpose and meaning to feel positive, to feel transformative change in yourself and in others. And in the last episode, I challenged Ivor to describe why he's obsessed about purpose. So now it's time to flip the script. So I'll let you start.
Absolutely. All right. So, Bill, share with us what exactly it is about purpose that drives you.
So I'm going to give a really quick, brief history. So I was never a big fan of purpose anywhere. And then in 2007, I went to this certification, Dream Coach certification. And in the Dream Coach certification, we did purpose coaching. And when I did that purpose coaching, there was a light bulb that sparked. And that bulb came on and said, hey, there's more to life than just work and busyness and just doing stuff. Purpose is this thing that you're here to do. And I went, I like that. So I've been on this quest, and it's this quest since 2007 on what if we could bring purpose into education? And what if we could help young people kind of understand what purpose means? And then attach that to maybe their major or things that they might want to do. So since 2008, or in 2008, I created this course. And basically, the course is called What Could I Do with My Life? And in that course, I kept coming up with how can I help young people, mostly freshmen in college, figure out their purpose and create lots of tools and this or that. But the thing that's been interesting is, I always thought my purpose was to help people find their purpose. And I'm realizing my purpose is to help people get clear about who they are and what they're here to do through my journey. And I never had the through my journey part. It was always do this for other people, but never through my experiences in the purpose part. And I think that was a newer revelation for me, more recent, probably since December. So,
So, question
um,
going back to what you touched on earlier with education, why is it purpose is not something that's given more prominence in education?
well, it's kind of like in church. It takes time. So there's two reasons. One, it really takes a lot of time to help people on this journey. Because if you think about it, like the way we do purpose, explore purpose, we do meaningful work statements. Well, let me take a step back. We do the three pillars: know yourself, serve for family, find your right pond. You can't do that in like a 15-minute conversation. There's actually a process you need to take to get to that point. And I don't think people in education are willing to take the time to do that. The other thing is, I don't think you can measure purpose. So in terms of education, it's always retention rates, graduation rates, basic skill. It's always these measurable statistics. How do you measure purpose? Like, and whether someone's actually fulfilling it or not. That's a more internal thing. And I don't know if we have come up with a tool to measure purpose. Now, I will say one of the things that, and I'm going to do a shout out for my friend Megan. My friend Megan and we actually looked at a sequence of activities where we help students know themselves, understand their values, their personality and all this other stuff. And that was like the first half of the course. The second half of the course is how to use your meaningful work statement, how you want to serve, and a plan on how to get there in terms of picking your major in this or that. So we created a structure where we could help people find purpose, and we actually measured retention rates, graduation rates. But we also found that students, a lot of the students that we worked with, had this thought that they're going to come in to do this one specific thing. They did our class, and then it's like, oh, wait, I don't want to do this anymore. I want to switch to something else because they realize there was something bigger for them to do, and they just didn't know what it was. Now, I will also say, the first course was focused on the purpose part. The second course we created, which was Redesign a Life You Love, was focused on the meaning part. So it's really how, why you matter, and what's your role. So, we were thinking about, goals and dreams and aspirations and those things as a concept of making yourself a better person. So I know it's a long answer, but it's so desperately needed in education, but I don't think people are willing to take the time to do it, and they don't think they want to they know a way to measure it. Now, I will say, and I'm going to share this. So I was just recently sent an article from Inside Higher Ed, and the title is Promoting Purpose to Reduce Stopouts. A recent study from the University of Washington at Tacoma finds that a student's decision to leave higher education can be driven by lack of goals or sense of self. So here's one of the few articles that I actually found that actually is saying maybe if we help people find purpose, they are actually more likely to stay in college. And my response to that would be, well, duh. I mean, really, we've been doing it
All right.
for years, and now someone's like, "Hey, maybe that might be a good idea." So it makes me chuckle.
So now, in light of that, and with the comment you made about helping them find their purpose and what it did for you with yours, is part of the issue that not only would this take time, but it also involves faculty and staff who now themselves are willing to take the journey so that they can give it to students.
Well, we taught the title of this is, unleash the power of purpose and meaning to fuel transformative change in yourself and for others.
Correct.
And if you're going to do it for others, you have to do it for yourself. And I wonder, and well, let me say, I wonder if people want to do it for themselves because if they find out that there's something that they want to do and it might not be aligned with what they're doing, it might cause some angst inside of them. Now, we've done 20 something trainings, 22, 23 trainings here, and then we've gone other places and done trainings. And time again, when people go through our 3-day training, they realize, I don't think I want to do this anymore.
Correct. Yeah.
And then they go through these activities, and it's like, I think I want to move in another direction. Then we have to help them figure out how they can move in another direction so that they can further define it for themselves and then help others define it. So this has been the fun part is helping people learn the strategies on how to help others do it. So that's where I'm at now is it's clear for me, but can I make it clear for others so that they can help others be clear about what they're here to do? And we've been on this journey together, and when you see that aha and that transformative time when they go through an activity and they're like, "Oh, I got it. I get it. I have to make a change." And that we actually can help them make that change. Um, So, we had this conversation this morning, and I'm just going to bring it up. We were talking about faith, and I'm sure this will be another episode, but once you figure it out, you have to have the faith to say, yes, this is what I'm going to dedicate my life to. And I think that's scary for a whole lot of people. So,
How have in helping students,
mhm.
right? Because it's also branched off into really helping a lot of adults as well, not just those in higher ed. Now, again, from a student's perspective, however, is this something that you're looking to do more at the high school level? Can we get it to them at those ages rather than just waiting for them to arrive on a college campus?
Well, it needs to be done in the high school level. I'll be honest, I'm not the one to do it. Once I hit past 60, I'm like, you know what? I'm not interested in working with younger people, but I'm interested in training people who want to do this work with younger people because it should be done at minimum junior, senior year of high school. Because if you think about the biggest transition for young people, it's from high school to blank, whether it's college, trade school, out on your own. And that's when they need this help on figuring out what this thing is. Um, so yes, it does need to happen at least at the high school level, but the seeds can be planted earlier. Like, we can start planting seeds on helping, helping young people look within and start thinking about, what am I interested in? What am I curious about? How can I tap into my creativity and looking at the things that really spark their soul and then expand on that. I just finished reading a book called Tiny Experiments. And what if we could help every young person create experiments around purpose? So, what if purpose was not this thing like you mentioned in our last episode? It's not this thing you find, but it's this journey. And it's a journey of tiny experiments where you're trying this thing out and you're trying that thing out and you're trying this thing out and you're trying all these little things out. And, maybe something, there'll be something that strikes you. There might not be something that strikes you, or it might be something that doesn't even exist. So we don't know, but you got to try doing little things, and see where it might take you. And so for me, if I think back to a journey, if this is a journey, I started out in academic advising way back in 87, 89. I started out in academic advising, helping students try to graduate from college by helping them outline their courses and this or that. I did that for 2 years and I'm like, there's something missing here, but I couldn't figure out what the thing was that was missing. So then I did this experience in career services. So I was working advising and then I part-time in career services because I thought maybe it's the career piece. And I'm like, just helping them find a job in a career, that wasn't it. So I've always been searching for this. What's the thing that we could help students do that really gets some clarity on the direction they want to take? So, I've done advising, I worked in assistant. Yeah, so I've done all these different positions, and not until I got to UNCG and had these trainings in purpose and meaning and dreams, where it got clear on the thing that's missing is purpose. I wish I would have started this earlier with younger people when I had the fire to work with high school students. But what's been fun is I'm now working with people who want to do this work with high school students. And it's been fun to hear the stories where, they've tried this tool or that tool or that tool, and they're starting to understand, the young people, this high school students are starting to understand, yes, I'm starting to get this. Um, and one of the pieces that I've noticed to really make this happen is stories. You mentioned it last night, is storytelling. So imagine if you connect the dots with your past, even if you're 17, 18 years old, you're going to notice these dots connecting. And it's like, oh, well, maybe this at least is a place I can start. So that's a really long-winded answer to your question, but it's important that we really help this next generation or this current the younger generation really understand what these things called purpose and meaning mean and help them in that process. And I think that's what's going to change how this world ends up in the future.
I think your last comment about the stories, right? The storytelling piece and being able to ask really good questions. Then those two elements just unfold everything in a very new and different light. And not even just for students, right? But even thinking about the work that you've done with adults, just people in transition, leaving one career to go to another or retiring early and now trying to figure out now what do I do in my life. So I think again, even for them telling their story and having you pose the right questions, them having that light bulb moment, even though there's a significant age difference between them and your high school or college student. So I think that's a very interesting point.
Yep. So, go ahead.
No, go ahead. That was it.
I was just going to say you know, it, it's never too late. Because most people would say, if I'm in my 60s, 70s, 80s, it's too late to find purpose. And I'm a big believer, if you're still breathing, you still got work to do.
Yes, I agree.
So it's never too late to, help others, help yourself, help others. And so, you know, I could see, when I look at how I want to do this in the future. I just finished reading a book called Learning to Love Midlife by Chip Conley. And it's like, I really want to help people from 30 to 70 really think about, when they hit this wall called life, and it's like, where do I go next? There has to be resources, and, we have to find ways to help these people really think about what they want to do next and make the process as easy as possible. Um, at least get them started. And then if we can get them started, watch them take off. Um,
Right.
and they shouldn't have to pay $3,000 to figure this stuff out. Because I'm really big about that too. And because they'll go to a workshop, spend all this money on a workshop, and it's like they leave and it's like, so what am I supposed to do now?
Yes, the
And
pep
I'm
rally
like,
effect.
yeah, we can't do that. We really do need to help people get clear sooner and then have a plan. And, the other thing is not only get clear, but when they hit this crisis again, they have the tools and resources to be able to re-examine their life in this next chapter and say, all right, so, it could be a, 40-year-old saying, I've been doing this work for 10, 15 years. I don't like what I'm doing. They re-examine their life, say, I'm going to move in this direction. And then in another 20 years, they're ready to retire. And then it's like, well, what do I do now? And they still have
Right.
the resources. So then they can really examine their life. So, you know, we're all in transition. We all go through multiple transitions. My hope is that we can help provide the resources and the tools that when that transition comes, it's readily accessible for them to be able to use.
So I think this is a good place for us to wrap this episode. Is there anything else you'd like to say in closing?
All I yes, there's one thing. I'm glad I'm on this journey with you.
Grateful for you, sir.
Yes, because
Yes,
it's been we have some really interesting conversations, including we need to do this these episodes. Um, so we're going to have so many more fun conversations around purpose and meaning, and I look forward to doing this and this journey with you.
yes. Well,
Cool.
that's all for this episode. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you on the next one.
Sounds great. We'll see you. Bye.